Hello, my name is Neil Kirby. I taught for many years in the Master of Organisational Psychology program at the University of Adelaide. In this video, I'm going to talk briefly about why I think it's worthwhile for you as secondary school students to study organisational psychology and why some of you might want to consider becoming an organisational psychologist. Most people spend most of their adult lives working in different types of government, commercial and not-for-profit organisations. The study of work in organisations is important for people because research has shown that it affects a person's overall happiness and sense of meaning in life. For example, a study quoted in a book on happiness showed that a person's job had the third highest importance rating with respect to their happiness. You might want to pause this video here and ask what you think were the top two contributors to their happiness. The top two contributors in this study were financial situation, which is related to work, and leisure activities, in that order. Similarly, Baumeister in his book The Meanings of Life found three basic activities from which people try to derive meaning in life. Work is one of them. The others are love or relationships and religion. Thus, with respect to work, life is likely to be more meaningful to people if they have a job which gives them a sense of purpose, enables them to achieve things they think are valuable, makes them feel in control of that part of their lives, and gives them a sense of self-worth. These kinds of jobs are also likely to make organisations more productive, so there are benefits for both workers and organisations. As an employee in an organisation after leaving school, you will have an expectation that your job will be safe, not just physically, but also psychologically, enable you to be productive, and be reasonably satisfying for you. Unfortunately, research studies show, and examples in the news media continue to show, that jobs in many organisations could be safer, more productive, and provide more job satisfaction than they do. These kinds of jobs can lead to many problems for organisations and their employees, including accidents, poor productivity, work stress claims, industrial strikes, high staff turnover, and bankruptcy. You might be surprised when you find out how many businesses went bankrupt in Australia last year, leading to the loss of jobs for their employees. Organisational psychologists use their knowledge of psychology to assess and improve work safety, productivity, and job satisfaction in all kinds of organisations. For example, an organisational psychologist might be asked to help improve the safety of your school, both physically and psychologically, for staff and students, and to improve their satisfaction with their roles in the school. Organisational psychologists can assess or benchmark these improvements against best practice in other schools, as they can with other types of organisational improvements in other organisations. Videos made by the members of the South Australian College of Organisational Psychologists for this course illustrate how organisational psychologists use their knowledge of psychology to assess and improve organisations. These videos can be accessed on the internet under the heading Organisational Psychology Teaching Tools, YouTube. Some of the basic knowledge used by organisational psychologists is covered in the topics of the present organisational psychology curriculum. For example, the topic measuring performance is important for identifying a need for organisational improvement and whether changes have led to improvements. Selecting the right employees can contribute to better individual performance and job satisfaction. Motivation and teamwork are important for individual and group productivity and job satisfaction. Leadership is important to enable individuals and teams to accomplish organisational goals, and organisational culture and climate is important for work safety and efficient and effective work processes. Organisational psychologists also use knowledge from other areas of psychology, such as those covered in your school's Year 12 psychology curriculum. For example, knowledge about individual differences in personality in the course Psychology of the Individual can be used to inform the vocational guidance advice to a student about the kind of job or career they will find most satisfying, and for improving personnel selection in organisations. Knowledge from the course Psychological Health and Wellbeing can be used to design jobs that do not adversely affect the mental health of workers by exposing them to high levels of stress, for example, through unreasonable work demands or a lack of work-life balance. Catherine McEwen, in her video for this course, describes how organisational psychologists can provide training in resilience to help employees better cope with the challenges they experience in the workplace, and in doing so build their adaptability to change. Jackie Dakin, in her video, speaks about the need that many managers have for professional coaching to help them deal with the demands of their more senior role and to support their efforts to motivate workers. Such coaching may include advising them to keep their workers informed about important issues, asking workers for their opinions, or looking to praise them for what they do well rather than criticise mistakes. Organisational psychologists can use knowledge covered in the social influence course to help ensure that an organisation's hiring practices are not prejudiced against minority groups and that they have policies in place to support the hiring of underrepresented groups, such as people with disabilities and people from different ethnic backgrounds. The course Psychology of Learning provides important insights into how people learn and how they apply what they learn. Sonia Vandergoot describes in her video how learning in leadership training courses can be transferred more effectively to the workplace. Knowledge covered in the Science Inquiry Skills course can be used by organisational psychologists to assess the relative effectiveness of existing work processes and the management of workers, and of changes designed to improve them. Other videos made for this course illustrate how organisational psychologists can use their research skills to contribute to improving organisations. For example, in his video on work safety, Denver Summers draws attention to the high number of industrial accidents in Australia, and he demonstrates with a dramatic example the major cost of these accidents to workers, to the community, and in terms of business productivity. He describes his own organisational research, which has been concerned with the development of a work safety climate measure that can identify emerging work safety issues for remediation before they become critical and lead to accidents. In another video, Denver also talks about research by Catherine Robertson, in which it was found that young part-time and casual workers are often not told, as part of their initial induction, about the kinds of safety issues concerning themselves or others that they should report, and who they should report these issues to. This kind of organisational research can lead to better safety-related induction for new workers. Andrew Reeves speaks in his video about his research on technology involving increasing cybersecurity threats and how organisational psychologists can help employees keep their organisations safe from these threats, for example by providing them with training in knowing which emails they can open and which emails they should not open. Organisational psychologists also utilise their knowledge and skills in the management of change. Organisations, including schools, are under continuing pressure to adapt to changes in their environment, changes in societal values, changes in technology, health threats such as COVID, new government legislation, and changing economic circumstances. For example, during economic downturns, there may be a need to retrench workers in some organisations and to look at possible options for retraining these workers for a different type of work. It is important to have staff who are trained to support these workers in a professional way to ensure that they do not suffer undue mental stress due to their changed circumstances. I think that through your studies in organisational psychology and what you learn from the news and other information media, that you'll come to appreciate that every organisation could benefit from the services of an organisational psychologist. This is certainly the message in the videos for this course prepared by Hayley Loken and Scott Way. They describe how organisational psychologists can improve all types of organisations, including your school, the organisations in which your family members work, and the organisations in which you will be working when you leave school. Organisational psychology can be a very worthwhile and rewarding career path for those who choose it. As an organisational psychologist, you have the opportunity to make a very positive difference to organisations and consequently to the working lives of many people that research shows will significantly affect their personal happiness and sense of meaning in life. If your studies in Year 12 lead you to consider a career in organisational psychology, and if you want to learn about becoming an organisational psychologist, then have a look at Jamie Orton's video in which she describes the postgraduate organisational master's program at the University of Adelaide. I wish you all well in your studies, and I hope that what you learn in the organisational psychology course will help you in your future employment as an employee, subsequently perhaps as a leader or manager in an organisation, or possibly as an organisational psychologist. As a first exercise in organisational psychology that illustrates the constantly changing work of organisational psychologists, consider how your school, as an organisation, is having to adapt to changes in social values, technology, health threats, government legislation, and changing economic circumstances. As a second exercise illustrating how organisational psychologists can improve organisational processes, consider that you are a manager in an organisation who has to inform 10 employees that they must be retrenched because of an economic downturn. You can stop this video at this point to write down what you would say to these workers who will be asked to come to your office individually without knowing that they're going to be retrenched. Now consider that you are one of the employees who must be retrenched. What would you like the manager to say to you that might make you feel less stressed about having to be retrenched? An organisational psychologist could use what you would like the manager to say to you as the basis of a training program to ensure that workers are retrenched by managers in a professional way that will make being retrenched less stressful than it could be. This would certainly be preferable to some of the retrenchment examples given in the Time magazine article, one of which involved a person discovering that he had been retrenched by finding someone else sitting at his desk in the organisation.